This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.
What is happening, you guys? Welcome back to a Tuesday tune-up. I'm J.M. Ryerson, and I have a guest today.
Hello, I'm back.
She is back. We're here for a Tuesday tune-up, and on Let's Go Win podcast, why did you leave? I missed you.
Do you, though? I needed a little break.
Did need a little break.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have you come on as a special guest as well.
I'll just be a special guest.
So today, we're going to talk about something that I am very passionate about, and that is 3 keys to build self-confidence. So in the article that I wrote, you might laugh, but are you down with PPP?
Oh, is that a bad dad joke?
No.
The bad dad jokes have really just taken another level lately. The kids tell me all the time. They're like, oh.
I'm a dad. That's my job.
It's bad, though. The dad jokes are getting bad. But yes, I'm down with PPP.
You are down with PPP. So, as growing up in the 90s, you down with OPP? That's not what we're talking about today. You can answer that. You can, whatever you want. But no, the I don't know what it would be. Acronym, the PPP is going to stand for 3 things to help build confidence, self-confidence, because in my opinion, this is arguably the most important thing you need to have in any factor of life, whether that's leadership, that is building a business, that's being a parent, that's confidence and self-confidence. It literally is going to help you achieve anything you want to achieve. And so the first P stands for positive self-talk. Now, we talked about this before. I have a tendency, or I certainly did, a tendency of negative self-dialogue. Like my inner dialogue was kind of a jerk, and you never quite understood that. Mm-mm. But I'm not alone. I know other people struggle with that. And so it took years and years of conditioning and coaching for me to be more positive, to not be my harshest critic. And I know that's not something you necessarily struggle with, but for those of us that do, positive self-talk is so important. So what's fascinating about that, though, is you didn't grow up necessarily being patted on the back. No. And maybe that's why you're so conditioned to be nice to yourself, to give yourself self-confidence. So I don't know, do you have a practice for positive self-talk, or is it just come natural?
I think it was really going back to my childhood, coming from a very strict Asian family. And I know my mom's mom was probably even more strict than her. It is a very, I can't say for the entire culture, obviously, but, with the Chinese culture, especially, it was like, you're just never good enough, right? Oh, I got an A- on this. Well, why wasn't it an A+? Like, why wasn't it 100%? So there was a lot of, how do I put it? Like, just not good enough, right? Mm-hmm. You need to push harder. And so when you're getting that from the outside, I may have done the complete opposite just to be able to be in survival mode, right? When my mom, and I'm not saying that she's a wonderful human being, but that was just how she knew how to raise me, was being very negative all the time. Like, and it did push me. It pushed me to, be competitive. It pushed me to do great things. But at the same time, I think in my head, I had to tell myself, no, you're a good person, Lisa. Like, you're going to do just fine. Like, a B+ is okay. Like, you're going to survive. Like, you're doing better, maybe than somebody else or whatever it is. But it was my way of survival. So I have a real quick, because I'm so proud of our boy. Our boy did so awesome yesterday. TJ played in his PTT. It's a Premier Tennis Tour tournament yesterday, and he won his very first tournament in that series. So basically, and he played against amazing players. I mean, he had some, he upsetted some of the bigger seeds, all that good stuff. But the biggest thing, the example that I want to talk about is his last match, which was the finals yesterday. In the first set, he was down on himself. He was playing, he's 15. The kid he was playing against, and in this tournament, there's adults, there's kids, there's whatever. He was playing against a 12-year-old yesterday, right? But this is not just any 12-year-old. This is the number 1 12-year-old in the country, right? He just won like all these bowls, and he's amazing, and he has a higher UTR rating, for you tennis people, that, than TJ does. So he's, ranked higher per se. And TJ went in there and he was cautious. He was having negative self-talk. I mean, he just was really worried about losing to a 12-year-old, right? Like if he lost to a 12-year-old, he had to go back to the academy today. He was afraid of he was going to get made fun of and whatnot. So he lost that first set, 6-3. Well, second set, his coach was there, coached him, and he was like, who cares? Right? Just go out there with confidence, play your game. You've been training so hard to do this. And whatever it is, have positive self-talk. It doesn't matter if you're down by 5 games, if you're up by 5 games, nobody should be able to tell from the outside looking in if you're winning or losing, right? And he did exactly that and rolled through the kid, 6-0 in the second set, won the tiebreaker, like 10-1 in the third. And it was all the difference of having positive self-talk that allowed him to be confident in that scenario, and he won. And he won $800.
No, it is
really cool.
It is very cool. And, and I am awfully proud of our boy for sure. And it is a good example because, I coach TJ on positive self-talk and I never necessarily received that. But to have a coach come in and say that, I guess that's a great reminder for all of us. Look, you need to have people in your life remind you, be nice to yourself, be kind. Because the truth is, and I've said this before, I think we have 50 to 60,000 thoughts go through our head on a daily basis. They're not all going to be positive. That is not possible. But which ones are you grabbing and which one are you really attaching to yourself? And I love that Brad is his name, and shout out to him because that's amazing for him to recognize that and to help our boy to say, hey, how is that serving you? You saying what a piece of garbage you are, or I'm stupid, or I'm shitty, because these are all the things I've heard him say on a tennis court. And yes, our 15-year-old has begun to cuss quite frequently, but that doesn't serve you. Right. And the truth is, that doesn't serve any of us in any walk of life to say I'm negative or label ourselves anything. So I love that story, and thank you. So the other P is putting yourself out there. And this is something where we all want to be accepted. We all want to, really be able to, I guess, not blend in necessarily, but you want to be accepted into a group. And so putting yourself completely out there, being vulnerable, completely naked, if you will, is not necessarily easy for all, including myself. And I just came off an amazing retreat where that was my number one goal, is I'm going to put myself completely out there. And somebody said something to me. They're like, look, you're only going to get out of this what you put in. So if you're sitting there being hesitant or not putting yourself 100%, let's say you give 50%, you'll probably get 50% back. And I have to tell you guys, my experience was absolutely incredible because I just said, I don't care judgment or praise. I'm just going to give 100%. And I got back tenfold that. So I don't know. You and I talk about this a lot. When it comes to saying put yourself out there, do you have any thoughts on it?
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's something I think when I was growing up, I was extremely shy and went to a very small Episcopalian Catholic school. Episcopalian, I guess, but whatever, very small. And so then I got into high school and I was very timid, but I was so lucky to be a part of an all-girls Catholic high school where it was still a small school, but it was all girls and you could be whatever and do whatever. And it was just this very uplifting situation, for the 4 years. And I just kind of bloomed out of that. And I just remember the friendships that I made and all those things. And I carried that into college. And still to this day, this is like my passion, is connecting people and running events so that people can meet each other. And I've been doing that here in our community. And I absolutely love it because we were new to Florida a year ago. And I knew how that felt to have to meet new friends and all that stuff. And I'm always going to put myself out there. That's just the only thing I know how to do. But what has been really fun is being able to connecting others with other females with other ladies, right, in our community. And these friendships, you see them forming on social media or when we're out and about. And it's just the greatest feeling because they have found their people. Like we're all a big group. At the same time, you have your own niche, that you love or people that you're in alignment with. And it's been fun to see all that. And so I think it's true, especially in this scenario, when you're moving to a new place, put yourself out there because that's the only way you're going to find your people. And And so what? Like if you put 100% out there and somebody doesn't like your 100%, then that's not your person, right? Then you move on and you'll find your people. And I think you're going to get those genuine relationships when you do that.
No, it's a great point. And, I look at relationships or friendships when you're able to be completely yourself and put yourself completely out there without any worry of judgment. It's so easy. It doesn't feel like work, whereas it does if you're trying to look a certain way. So I love that. And we've been very blessed, don't get me wrong, to put ourselves out there and to be so well received. We got fortunate, no doubt about it, but it does work. And like you said, not always. You're going to get some people that they're not your people. That's okay. You want to know that too. So the last P, and this is something, I've talked about this before, but I want everyone to hear this, especially you females. Prioritize you. The most important thing for you to take care of on a daily basis is you, and it's not even close. There's no amount of investment that you can do that will ever, it's an investment. There's no cost. So the retreat I just did, I don't even know. I do know what it costs, I guess, because you've asked, but I don't think of it that way. And I would have paid 10 times what I paid because it's an investment in me. I hope people hear this because I see people take care of everyone else first and then themselves last. And let me say it. I've said it before. I'll say it again. That's the most selfish thing you can do. I want you to take this. I want you to give yourself some grace. I want you to hear this. Prioritize you so that you can show up as your best self, so that you can take care of everyone else. So I on a daily basis, I'm talking 5 minutes a day. If that's all you can do, prioritize for you. Take care of yourself. Hopefully it's a little bit more than that, but I know this is important. I know that this wasn't always something you were even great at, especially when we first had kids, because you're a new mom and you want to take care of that baby first. But the truth is you have to take care of you. So any thoughts on prioritizing you?
Yeah, I had to learn the hard way for sure. And so grateful for JM, who literally at some point, I want to say, I don't know if it was after the first kid or after the second kid, but that's what happened was I became a mom. I stopped working. I became a full-time mom. It was the hardest job ever. So kudos to all you moms out there that are just rocking it because once again, hardest job in the world. I did that for 4 years and I was just burnt out. Like I didn't have, the friendships or the girls' times that I used to have before, with my girlfriends. And I remember JM called up one of my best friends in California, was like, hey, I'm going to pay for this weekend, but you need to take Lisa somewhere and she needs a break. And that was the best break I could ever have taken. Now, I've gotten really, really good at this. I tell my girlfriends all the time.
She's really good at it. She took it to a whole nother level.
I prioritize myself very, very well. To the extreme that sometimes I'm like, I don't want to go to that sporting event. Like I need a me day, and I think it's really important. But I think there needs to be a balance of some sort. It's never going to be a perfect balance, but just make sure to take time out for yourself, right? I get massages every month. I do my shopping days. I call that retail therapy. I have lunch and dinners with my girlfriends. I have women's events. And I really believe that, having those things, that just fills my bucket. And that allows me to come home and be a better wife, a better mom, all those things. Or else, if I don't do any of those things, I don't know what would happen with y'all.
It wouldn't go well.
No.
It just wouldn't. You can't show up as your best version of you as a mom, as a spouse, as a friend. You have to prioritize you. So to go back, just to circle back to the 3 P's to increase your self-confidence. The first one is positive self-talk. Be nice to yourself. Be kind. Tell yourself how awesome you are, because you are. Put yourself out there is number 2. Completely go all in. See what happens. You'll be remarkably, I think, pleased by what you receive back. And lastly, prioritize you. So are you down with PPP even more?
Yeah, you know me.
Nice. Thank you. I was wondering if you'd actually finish that off for me. So I would love to hear other ways that people boost their self-confidence. Those are the 3 Ps that I think are important. But where can they share that with us, Lisa?
Yeah, contact us at info@letsgowin.com. We're on all the social media outlets, so we'd love to hear your thoughts and comments and all that good stuff. And then just make sure that you share our podcast out there, because it's, real sidebar, real quick. I started doing Stretch Zone here in Delray recently because, my body needs a lot of stretching. And the gentleman who's my stretch therapist, I guess that's what he's called, I was telling him about your podcast, and he's like, wait, I already subscribed to your husband's podcast. And I thought that was really cool. And he absolutely loves it. So yeah, we have great guests on. So make sure you subscribe and listen every single week.
No, I appreciate that. It's been kind of fun is this Let's Go Win. I call it a movement because it is. And it's far bigger than myself, certainly, or us. It is all about inspiring people to live their best lives. And we've traveled to different countries, to across. Everyone's like, let's go win. What are we going to win at? Let's go win today. Let's go win at relationships. Let's go win at business. In this case, let's go win at boosting your self-confidence. And so I'm down with PPP.
I'm not saying it again.
Oh, shoot. All right, you guys. Well, I appreciate you all so much. Remember, your mindset matters, and we will talk to you again next week. Have a good one.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening. If this content is delivering value to you, please make sure to subscribe, rate, and review us. That helps us build this community, and that is what we are all about. Building this community as big as we can, helping as many people as we can, and deliver as much value as possible. Be sure to head over to letsgowinpodcast.com for information on my coaching courses, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn at Let's Go Win 365. Let's go win and transcend in life.
This is the Let's Go Win podcast with your host, J.M. Ryerson.